Welcome, truck enthusiasts, history buffs, and off-road warriors, to the ultimate deep dive into one of the most legendary vehicles to ever rumble out of the Soviet era, the Ural trucks. And today, we're cranking up the engine for a 12-minute journey through mud, snow, battlefields, and beyond. If you've ever wondered how a single truck design could conquer Siberian tundras, fuel entire armies, and still haul logs in the backwoods today, buckle up. We're talking raw power, unbreakable durability, and a story forged in the fires of World War II. Hit that like button if you're ready to roll, subscribe for more heavy-duty tales, and drop a comment. What's the toughest terrain you've tackled? Let's dive in. Forged in fire, the wartime birth of Ural. Picture this. It's November 30th, 1941. Nazi forces are knocking on the gates of Moscow, and the Soviet Union is in full panic mode. Factories are being evacuated eastward faster than you can say, Operation Barbarossa. One of those factories? The mighty ZIS plant in Moscow, churning out trucks that kept the Red Army supplied. But with the front lines closing in, Stalin's State Defense Committee makes a bold call. Relocate the engine production, foundry, and mechanical workshops to the remote town of Mias in the Ural Mountains. Why Mias? It's smack in the middle of nowhere, safe from Luftwaffe bombers, but close enough to the industrial heartland to matter. By April 1942, the new Ural automotive plant, or Ural AZ, is sputtering to life. At first, it's just engines and gearboxes, pieced together from whatever scraps they could salvage from the chaotic evacuation. Workers, many exiled or drafted straight from the front, toil in half-built sheds amid freezing Siberian winds. But on July 8, 1944, a date etched in Ural lore, the first truck rolls off the line, the ZIS-5V, rebranded as Ural ZIS. This wasn't some fancy prototype. It was a no-frills, 3-ton beast with a wooden cab, bent fenders made from scrap steel, and no front brakes to save on parts. Simple? Yes. Robust? Absolutely. By September, they'd shipped 1,000 units to the front. By war's end, 6,800 Ural trucks had ferried ammo, troops, and medics through hellish mud and shell fire, helping turn the tide at Stalingrad and Kursk. Fun fact. That ZS-5V design was so bulletproof, literally, that it stayed in production post-war as the Ural ZS-35V5M until 1965. These early Urals weren't just trucks, they were lifelines. Imagine bouncing over bomb craters with 5 tons of shells in the back, engine roaring like a wounded bear. No GPS, no ABS, just grit and gears. And get this. By 1949, they'd upgraded to hydraulic brakes on some models, a small mercy for drivers dodging potholes the size of swimming pools. But the real magic? Adaptability. From day one, Urals were modified on the fly, into ambulances, fuel tankers, even mobile kitchens. It was this wartime DNA of build it tough, fix it fast that would define the brand. As the smoke cleared in 1945, Ural AZ had produced over 10,000 vehicles, earning the nickname the Ural Miracle. And they weren't done yet. The Cold War was brewing and the Urals were about to go nuclear, figuratively speaking. Cold War evolution, from ZIS shadows to Ural icons. Fast forward to the 1950s. The Soviet Union is rebuilding, and the Army needs trucks that can handle not just roads, but the endless steppes and taiga. Enter the Ural 375, unveiled in 1961 after years of R&D borrowing chassis bits from the MAZ-200 beast. This 6x6 workhorse tipped the scales at 4.5 tons payload, powered by a thirsty 7-liter V8 gasoline engine, a beefed-up version of the ZIL 130's mill, pushing 180 horsepower. Yeah, it guzzled AI-93 like a Cossack at a vodka festival, up to 48 liters per 100 kilometers, earning it the loving slur glutton. But who cared? It replaced the aging ZIL 157 as the Red Army's standard hauler in 1979 and stayed in production until 1993. Why the love? Ground clearance like a monster truck, over 400 millimeters unloaded, and a 6x6 drivetrain that laughed at mud, sand, or snow. It could ford 1.1 meters of water, 1.75 with prep, climb 30-degree slopes, and tow 5-ton trailers without breaking a sweat. Variants exploded. The Ural 375A with a stretched chassis for extra gear, the Ural 375D, the definitive steel cab model that became a troop carrier for 27 soldiers, even the Ural 375E Key ETL recovery vehicle, basically a mobile tow truck on steroids. And don't get me started on the weaponized ones, mounting BM-21 Grad rocket launchers that could rain 40 unguided missiles on a target 20 kilometers away. In Afghanistan, from 1979 onward, these Grad trucks turned valleys into infernos, proving Urals weren't just haulers, they were platforms for firepower. But gasoline? In a diesel-hungry world? Enter the 1970s revolution. Development kicked off in 1972 for a diesel successor, ditching the gas guzzler for efficiency. By 1977, the Ural 4320 bursts onto the scene, the diesel dawn. Early birds got the Kamaz 740 V8, a 10.8-liter monster cranking 210 HP at 2,600 RPM and 640 Nm of torque. Later upgrades hit 240 HP with the AMZ 238 M2. Fuel sip down to 35 liters per 100 km off-road, a 25% improvement. Production ramped to 31,500 units by 1990, with over 150 variants by the 2000s. Specs that still wow: 7.37 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, weighing 8 tons empty. Top speed, 85 km/h loaded, but it'll crawl through 1 meter snow or 0.55 meter walls. Centralized tire inflation lets you tweak pressures on the fly for sand or rocks. And reliability? These things run from 50 degrees C to plus 150 degrees C, with parts interchangeable across models. In the 1980s, Ural hit its millionth truck milestone, and exports kicked off to Warsaw Pact allies, the Middle East, even Vietnam. By 1987, the Order of the Red Banner of Labor for the plant. Cold War icons? You bet. Modern muscle? Ural Next and beyond. The Soviet collapse in 1991 could have killed Ural AZ. Production dipped to 2,489 units in 1998. Bankruptcy loomed. But like a true survivor, they pivoted. Enter the 1994 Iveco partnership. Italian cabins meet Russian chassis for the Ural Iveco line. Models like the 5531 blended Fiat tech with Ural toughness, hitting 60-ton road trains. By 1997, tilt cabs from Iveco's Euro Tracker series upgraded the fleet, with Deutz V6 diesels pushing 272 HP. Today, the Ural Next, launched in 2015, is the crown jewel. Unified cab with the Gaz Gazelle for familiarity, but packing a 312 HP AMZ engine, up 50% from the 4320's base. Electro-pneumatic AWD, LED lights, LCD dash, even USB ports. Payload, 712-ton standard, up to 15 on reinforced frames. The Ural 63704 Tornado U, a 16-tonner captured by Ukrainians in 2022, boasts modular armor options and Cat engine swaps for exports. Key features across the line: full-time 6x6 or 888 on 5323 models, locking diffs, winches standard on many, and that eternal simplicity: field repairs with basic tools. Civilian spin-offs? The Ural 5557 dump truck hauls 12 tons of gravel. The 63685 is a road-legal beast for highways. Exports? Over 20 countries, from Angola's mines to Iraq's oil fields. Fun fact, in 2011, an Indian firm armored a 4320 into the Caspier Mk6, surviving 21 Kildi TNT blasts. Unbreakable? Understatement. Battlefield beasts. Urals in action. Urals aren't museum pieces, they're war horses. In Afghanistan, 375s and early 4320s supplied Mujahideen ambushes, their high-clearance dodging IEDs. Chechnya, Zu-23-2 anti-air cannons on Urals shredded rebel convoys. Syria, 63704s hauled Grad launchers against ISIS. But Ukraine? Since 2022, it's been brutal. Oryx tallies 1,454 Russian 43-20s lost by November 2024. Tankers, troop carriers, ammo haulers vaporized by javelins, drones, and artillery. Up-armored cope cages on Urals became memes, but couldn't stop FPV kamikazes. Yet, Ukraine's own Soviet-era Urals inherited 43-20s, haul aid, tow howitzers, and ferry troops in the east. Both sides know, lose your trucks, lose the war. Logistics win battles. Urals embody that. Everyday heroes, civilian grit, and global reach. Beyond bullets, Urals grind daily. In Siberia's taiga, 43-20 loggers drag timber through 1-meter drifts. Oil rigs in Kazakhstan. 1 BA-15 drilling platforms on Ural chassis tap black gold. Fire trucks douse blazes in remote villages. Garbage haulers clear Moscow's alleys. Exports shine. Egypt's army uses 375Ds. Vietnam's builders swear by next dumps. Interesting tidbits. The 43-20's chassis prefers sandy wastes. Ground clearance eats rocks like candy. One Ural ran 1 million kilometers on original parts. And that millionth truck in 1987, a 43-20 gifted to the Kremlin. From Mias to the world, Urals prove. Tough jobs need tough trucks. The road ahead. As we throttle down on this epic ride, remember, Ural trucks aren't just vehicles, they're symbols of resilience. Born in evacuation, battle-tested in wars hot and cold, evolved for tomorrow's extremes. With Gaz Group backing and eyes on EVs, the next chapter, who knows? Maybe a hybrid Ural conquering Mars. For now, they're still the kings of the unconquerable. Thanks for joining the convoy. Which Ural model blows your mind most? Smash like if you learned something, comment your stories, share with a gearhead pal, and subscribe. Next up, Kamaz Rivals. Drive safe, stay rugged. Until next time, keep the rubber side down.